Getting started with Clio, how to build strong foundations in your Clio account for long-term success. Whether you are joining us live here in Nashville or virtually, hello. I'm thrilled to spend an hour with you walking through the basics so that you can have a successful, long career within Clio. Sound good? Yeah? All right, let's get to it. So first, a quick thank you to our visionary sponsors, Case Status, Noda, Lawmatics, BriefPoint, InfoTrack, and Gavel. So a little bit about me. My name is Sheena Da Ponte. I'm a senior manager of customer support here at Clio. I've been with Clio for 4.5 years, and it's my job to support our award-winning team of over 50 support specialists and 8 team leads who handle all of your questions that come in on phones, chats, and emails 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. We have team members in North America, in Dublin, over in Australia, all there to help you. And before working with Clio, I was a head trainer for an e-learning and event company that focused on supporting entrepreneurs to run their businesses with more free time and more money. So excited to spend the day here with you doing just that. So how are we going to spend the next 60 minutes? Who's the session best suited for? And what can you expect to get out of your time here? So let's start with the basics. I'm going to walk you through some of the foundational pieces of our core products, Clio Grow and Clio Manage. And I'm going to be focusing on the pieces of these products that I feel are going to give you the most value quickly from your investment in Clio. Now, Clio Manage and Clio Grow are 2 deeply integrated products that are meant to expand over the full customer journey. Both are Clio Grow products to help you find and intake your clients into your firm seamlessly and successfully. And of course, Clio Manage for you to manage your cases, do your great work, close them, get paid, and get referrals. And to help illustrate what we're talking about, I'm going to put it into some real-world examples for you and introduce you to some characters along the way, Sarah, our lawyer, and David, our firm's intake professional. But first, who is this session for? This session is going to be most value to folks who are new to Clio, working in small firms or mid-sized firms. Of course, more experienced Clio users, you're welcome to stay and ask questions and be a part of today. But I will be making some recommendations for some other sessions that you may want to attend that will go a little bit deeper. What else can you expect? Everyone loves to know what pitfalls to avoid and some quick tips, so we're going to spend some time on that. As mentioned, there is going to be a Q&A with 2 members of our support team here live on stage in Nashville. I'm really excited to introduce them to you. And I also do want to ask you to have something to take some notes on, so a paper or your computer or a phone, because I will be asking you some questions along the way and giving you a little bit of light homework. What I'm not going to be covering in our session is a deep dive into any specific feature or an in-depth walkthrough of every single step in the process. However, I will provide you some resources at the end that will give you more of that granular guidance. And a little inspiration as we dive in. A reminder from our legal trends report that firms that experience consistent and significant growth are 46% more likely to use a client intake or CRM solution. So by just being at ClioCon, you are off to a great start. All right, I promised questions, so here is your first one. Let's begin with a little reflection. If you could cut back time spent on one thing in your workday, what would that thing be? If you could cut back time spent on one thing in your workday, what would that thing be? Jot it down for yourself. And we are going to take advantage of being here in person together. And I am going to ask you to share it with a person near you. So if you're here live, feel free to turn to the person closest and share what came up for you. And if you're joining us virtually on chat, take to the chat and share. What's that one thing that you'd love to get rid of in your workday? I'll give you about a minute. Don't be shy. We're in person for a reason. All right, I'll give you 20 more seconds. All right. Thank you for your participation. It is appreciated. And I will be asking you more questions as we go along. So get to know your neighbors. That's what we're here for. All right, so first we're going to be talking about Clio Grow, as that's the product that you'll be using when you first meet your clients in the intake process, first attract them to your firm, and hopefully win them into your firm's work. So what is Clio Grow? Clio Grow is Clio's cloud-based client intake and legal relationship management software. It's designed to transform the way that your firm first attracts and retains prospective clients, and is one of Clio Grow's most powerful features is its ability to automate your intake process. Automated intake, or intake forms, as you probably heard throughout the day, are going to allow you to gather the information about your potential client or lead that you need to bring them on as a client. And then all of that information is going to automatically populate into Grow and sync over into Clio Manage. So this is key to getting value from Clio Grow quickly. And in the next section, I'm going to be going through some foundational pieces that are going to allow you to build your intake forms seamlessly. A little terminology, make sure we're all on the same page. When I'm mentioning matter, what I mean within Clio is your case files or your opportunities within Clio Grow or Clio Manage. All right, so 3 features we're going to go into specifically: custom fields, matter types, and matter statuses. So starting with custom fields, what are custom fields? Custom fields are customizable categories or fields of information about your customer, or client, that exist in matters and contacts. It's going to allow you to personalize what is important to your firm for the work that you do and gather that information into Clio Grow. Whether that's employment status or spouse's name, it's going to give you the flexibility to add details to help you keep track of what you deem to be most important. So let's go back to Sarah and David, who I mentioned earlier. Let's say Sarah shares with her firm's intake specialist, David, that she really wants to track preferred names so that she can build rapport more easily at the beginning of her relationship with a potential client. So David's going to go ahead and create a text line custom field called preferred name by going into Settings, Custom Fields, clicking New Field, and then creating a field called Preferred Name. Now that field will be able to be used all in the client profile, and it's also something that David can then pull into the intake form when he goes ahead to create that. So another question for you. What custom fields would you want to add for your unique firm? Take a moment to jot down a couple that come to mind. What custom fields would be useful to what you do? Right. So then Sarah, our lawyer, shares with David that she needs to know what area of law or what type of job she's going to be doing for her potential client. So this is where matter types comes in. In Clio Grow, it's going to allow Sarah and David to track the practice area for each of the matters. And if there's a lead that has multiple needs, there can be multiple matters and therefore multiple matter types for that lead. And this is going to be particularly useful as the firm grows and there's a lot of things on the go. So let's say Sarah does estate planning and one type of matter is wills. They can go ahead and set up in settings wills as a matter type. And then once it's a selectable option, it can be selected for a matter where it will be displayed for reference. So it's all set up. Sarah now has a call booked with her potential client and wants to record that as well. And this is where we get to matter statuses. So matter statuses are going to allow them to track exactly where in the process a lead is at. So are they at the stage of consult call scheduled? Are they waiting for forms? Is there a new lead that needs to be actioned? All of that can be tracked, and then the whole entire pipeline can be seen from an overhead view. That's going to really help David do his job of informing what's needed next. It's going to allow the firm to be able to see at a glance the volume and types of matters coming in, also start to project revenue. It's a really powerful tool to be able to just see at a glance what's going on and make sure, of course, that nobody falls through the cracks. And a final step here, Sarah can go ahead and record that she has a consult call scheduled. She's going to go to her matters page, select consult scheduled from the drop down, and that's it. ready to go. I promised tips, so here's your first one. Potential clients can book in to your calendar directly with a schedule that you set using Clio Grow's scheduler feature. So this is definitely one that you're going to want to set up quickly and minimize all of that admin and back and forth that is no fun. That can be multiple emails just to get to an appointment time. You can ditch all of that work by setting up this feature, and this is one that you're, again, definitely going to want to set up quickly to start seeing value from Clio Grow. Oh, I got sound effects. All right, so recap, we've covered custom fields where you personalize what information you're going to gather from your potential clients. Matter types so that you can differentiate the types of work your potential clients might need, and matter statuses so that you know exactly where the client is at in their journey with you. Now on to some professional touches. 2 small touches that you can set up easily within Clio Grow that are going to make things just shine when you start sending out your intake forms. These are simple and straightforward and honestly might seem kind of unnecessary, but first impressions are everything, so we're going to take a couple minutes and we're going to do it. Yes? Yeah, thank you. I love a front row learner. Awesome. All right. So firstly, uploading your firm logo will add it to your intake form. So it just takes a couple of clicks in settings to upload your firm logo, and then it's going to shine on all of your intake forms for your potential clients. And firm email. So firm email, if you do not have a custom email set up for your firm, highly recommend it. Just one of those touches that can show reputability and have a potential client feel like they're in good hands early on. Lots of different providers for custom domains, so you can just Google that and you'll find lots of options. And then once you have a custom domain, you're going to want to hook that up to Clio Grow so that any of your communications will come from that custom domain versus a generic Clio one. As much as we appreciate the free marketing, it's better that it's your domain, yeah? All right, so this is easy way, very quick way to show reputability and just have that clean, professional look. Okay. Now we've got all of our foundations in place. We have our custom fields set up and are ready to collect information about our potential clients. We have matter types configured. Matter stages are ready to go. Logo, custom domain, all set up. Now we're ready to automate intake. So, what is automated intake more specifically? Automated client intake means that you're creating an intake form to share with a potential client that's going to gather all of the needed inputs so that you can onboard them smoothly. With the right setup, it's going to cut down the time it takes to bring on a new client to a fraction of the time, meaning less work for David, less work for Sarah, more time to spend on the things that you got into law to do, and happier clients. So this process does take some steps to set up, and I am not a lawyer, but I will make a quick case for why you're going to want to do it. All right, so a yes or no question. I will not make you share the answer. Checking in with yourself. Is your firm currently too busy to handle new clients? Yes or no? Yes. I appreciate the share. Awesome. You don't have to share it out loud, but I appreciate that you did. All right. So in a 2021 Moneypenny survey of law firms, 65% of firms said that they were too busy to handle new clients. That's going to impact that firm's bottom line, the number of clients that they can help and support with their needs. Of course, it's going to affect the growth of that firm's business. It's also probably going to mean that it might be harder to have a great customer experience because this all points to a really busy firm. And I get it. When you're busy, it's hard to think about adding on another thing. But investing the time to automate this step of the process is going to allow you to bring people on more easily and not have that feeling of we're too busy to handle a new client. It's going to avoid bottlenecks, save you time, have you stand out to potential clients. You're getting the drift. It's a good thing to do. Are you hearing the music? Is it just me? Awesome. All right. We want to make sure nobody's falling through the cracks. That's the boiled down version. So here are 4 steps to automate your intake. First, utilize our form builder. I'm going to show you a video in a moment of what that looks like to create templates of intake forms based on your matter type. Next, you're going to customize and design these forms for your needs. Third, send them out to your potential clients. And then lastly, gather all that information and start to get to work on it and assign the matter stage. So let's take a look all together of what this looks like. So first, using the form builder, adding all of our information into the intake form so it looks exactly how we want it. All of that information is then going to be seen on the intake form that's going to go to your potential customer or client. They're going to be able to fill all of that out, submit it, and then once it's submitted, you're going to see it in the matter pipeline within Clio Grow. You're going to be able to move it through the stages, and you can even see there it has a number at the bottom to just give a sense of a revenue projection. All right. So top 3 Clio Grow takeaways. If you remember nothing else from what I just said, these are the things you need to know. Key Grow features: custom fields, matter types, matter statuses. You're going to add your professional touches, your firm logo, and your firm email. And then you're going to build your first intake form, create those forms, send them out, and you're going to be able to action on them. And that's how you start getting value from Clio Grow quickly. And that's really just the beginning. Clio Grow does a whole bunch of other things, but if I went into everything, we'd be here all day. But some of these include professional websites, Google search results, having the ability for your potential clients to book and pay for consultations, and so much more. All right, ready to move forward. Going back to this familiar slide, we spent most of our time so far speaking about Grow and focused on working towards building an intake form, because that's where you're going to get the value the quickest within Clio. With that same mentality, let's take a look at Manage and focus on what's going to get you value and Manage the quickest, which is billing. So your customer has joined you. They've gone through intake. You've got all the information. Now this is where Manage comes in. So Manage is designed to handle everything after a client is onboarded with you. Cases, documents, tasks, calendars, important dates, what have you. It manages everything. It's designed to be the central operating system for all active clients in your firm. And the good news is, all of that work that you already did in Grow, you can now sync over into Clio Manage. A quick statistic as we get into Manage. Almost 1/3 of the average legal professional's time spent in a week is spent on tasks that cannot be billed for. So in a 40-hour week, we're looking at about 12 hours a week that you could spend elsewhere, ideally on tasks that you can get paid for. And a lot of that work that you aren't getting paid for is what we try to automate within Clio Manage. This is all where Manage comes in. Manage is designed to help you manage your firm more efficiently, cut down on some of those repetitive tasks with automation, and make things that take a long time, like billing, much quicker. A little look at the agenda of what we're going to cover when it comes to Manage. It's a powerful software, and there's so much that I could go into. Again, we would be here all day. So we're going to touch on some of the key pieces: communication, setting up tasks and documents, tracking time and expenses, and of course, getting you paid by billing. So back to Sarah and David. David's done a great job getting Sarah new clients. They've completed the intake forms, and now Sarah is ready to do what she does best. But first, she's going to take some steps in her account to make sure it's set up to really save her time by investing time now to save her time later. So Sarah's priority is communicating with her clients. So the first order of business is to set up easy ways, easy paths to communicate with her clients. There are other forms of communication within Manage, including phone logs and email logs. But the two that I'm going to go into a little bit deeper here are the two that our customers say are the game changers, which are text messaging and Cleo for clients. So texting, hopefully I don't have to sell you on texting. Texting is how most people are communicating. It's everywhere. Texting your clients is going to be a great way to get quick communication to them right into their pocket, where they are probably most of their day on their phone. It's easy, quick. But what holds a lot of people back from using text messaging is that they don't want to text from their own personal phone number, which makes sense. It's important to have boundaries and vacations. So yeah, you might not want to give out your personal phone number, and that's fine. That's where Clio Manage comes in. So texting within the app just looks like this. You go ahead and click text, type out your communication, send it as a text message. It's going to go right to your client's pocket, and then you're going to be able to see it on your communications page within Manage. And you can set it up, as I mentioned, to not come from your phone number, but to come from a Cleo phone number. So what that looks like is just, again, a couple of clicks of a button. Turn on text messaging, add in your information, and then you're going to be able to text from a generic phone number versus your own personal phone number and be able to communicate in that way. So text messaging is great for those quick questions, quick communications, quick updates, but Sarah, our lawyer, wants something more secure when it comes to things like bills, documents, and that's where Clio for Clients comes into play. Clio for Clients is an app that's set up for you to communicate more securely, meeting your clients again where they are, either on their phones or on their computers, sending them things like documents, meeting invites, bills, easily, safely, securely. Now, Sarah has set up her communication paths. She's ready to start planning her work on her cases. Next, I'm going to walk you through tasks, tracking time, and tracking work. So Sarah's getting to work. She's ready to start keeping track of her tasks. And within Clio, tasks are a great way to keep track of the specific actions needed on a matter. It's going to allow her to check off the actions that she does as she does them or assign them to other folks at the firm. Now, what does this look like? When setting up a task, you can set the name, description, due date, even a reminder for yourself or another person, or a reminder for both to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. And a quick tip. It's one thing to set up tasks, and that's great, but it's another thing to set up a task list. So if you know that there's a list of tasks that you take with every specific type of matter, you can create a task list that you can automatically add to every matter of that type to allow you to cut back on having to go do that manually every time you get a matter of a specific type. So task lists are a very powerful, easy way to cut back on some of that organizational admin work. My personal rule of thumb, I'm a big productivity nerd, so if any of you come visit me at the Customer Success Center and want to talk productivity, you're welcome to. Big nerd about it, and my rule of thumb is if I do something once, I'm always asking myself, is there a way I can cut down on that work for the next time I do it? What can I do now to avoid having to just duplicate the effort next time? So, productivity hack 101. Always ask yourself, what can I do now to set myself up for success later? Sound good? Yeah. All right, so a question for you. What is a common workflow that you could make a task list for? You can write it down for yourself. What's a common workflow that you could make a task list for at your firm? All right. Now let's touch on another thing that takes up a lot of that 1/3 of legal professionals' time that they're not able to bill for, and that is documents. There are documents that Sarah, our lawyer, uses every single time, and it's time consuming to create them. Lots of copy pasting, lots of updating addresses, updating dates, names, pronouns, what have you. And by setting up a portfolio of templates of documents, she can cut all of that time out of her day. So Cleo's already going to keep track of all of the information that came in from Cleo Grow on the intake form and all the other types of information that Sarah's going to be putting in there about her clients. And then we can take that information and we can put it into what are called merge fields, which is basically just like a field on the document template. It's going to allow you to pull in the piece of information that you're looking to pull in. So this might be things like responsible attorney, matter, payment profile, custom fields, extra help like the current date. So what that's going to look like is taking an existing document and pasting the merge fields over the appropriate information so that it looks like this. It's going to take a little bit of time to set this up, but once it's set up, it's done. And then from there, every time you need to generate that document, you can just pick that document template within the specific matter, and it's going to draft you a first draft of it for you to review based on what you've set up in your merge fields. So again, saving you that manual copy pasting. You just copy paste once with the merge fields and then you're set, you're ready to go. So Sarah has set up her tasks and her documents, but now she wants to be able to keep track of all the time that she's spending on each one. So building towards Sarah's eventual bill, another feature that's going to help is activities. So what's an activity? An activity is an event that forms a line item on a bill, so it can be non-billable or billable. An activity category is going to allow you to put like types of activities together and bill them in the same way. It's going to provide firm-wide consistency, allowing them to, again, be grouped together, and allowing you to have consistent rates as well. So some examples could be time, expenses. Time and expenses are, I'm going to go into a couple more, but those are two to start. And grouping activities together in this way is going to allow you to provide a detailed breakdown so that your client knows what they're paying for. It's going to allow you to organize your bills a lot easier. Having detailed activity categories is also going to help provide insights to customers of the services that you provide and what goes into the work that you're doing for them. So in this case, Sarah has lots of categories set up, including time entry, call with client, document review, expenses that have been accrued, fees. So taking a moment, going to your notepad, what are some kinds of categories that your firm might need? Jot down the first 3 that come to mind. All right. So how can Sarah track all this work that she's doing? Let's say Sarah has that call scheduled in Clio for Clients and wants to track that time. From the event in Clio for Clients, she can track time she spent in the meeting. The tasks that she created, she can add time to each one of them. And there's also a timekeeper on each page within Clio Manage that's going to allow her to track time on the go as she goes, making sure that all of her time is accounted for. Even if she's not billing for it, at least it's going to give her visibility into how she's spending her time so that she has choice and autonomy of if that's how she wants to be spending her time. Again, we're trying to cut down on that 1/3 of a legal professional's time that they're not getting paid for. So this is a private share inside. You don't have to tell me. But how much of your time do you currently track? Is it 25%? Is it 50%? 75%? Maybe we have some keeners who are closer to like 90%. If you're on the lower half of that, no shame. But you may need this next quick tip, which is time tracking on your phone. So the Clio Manage mobile app is going to allow you to use the time tracker on your phone wherever you are, especially if you're somebody who's not always at their computer when they're doing their work. It's just going to allow you to build that muscle of tracking your time more easily right from your phone as opposed to having to be near your computer. All right. Back to Sarah. She's been diligent. She has tracked 90% of her time. She has all of her tasks, her time, activities, expenses ready to go, and she is ready to bill. And this is where the payoff of all this work comes into play. Because she's been working and tracking and being diligent, now she can calculate or populate a bill in a matter of a couple of clicks, and it's ready to send to her customer. There's 2 ways to generate a bill. You can use Quick Bill feature, which is one button within the matter, or you can use the bulk billing feature that's going to allow you to bill multiple clients at the same time. Now, I know Jack mentioned earlier about billing week. Billing week is very much a thing. We do see it every single month. First week of the month, all of our calls and queues go up because everybody's billing at the same time. If you're being diligent and doing all of this work throughout the month, there's no reason that you can't bill on a bi-weekly, on a weekly, or at your leisure, as opposed to having that billing week. But of course, it's easier said than done, but also it only works if you're being diligent about all these pieces. So what does Quick Bill look like? If you're in the matter, you're going to press one button, and you're going to be able to generate a draft of your bill. 2 buttons, I lied. There's a generate bill button. So now you've got the draft of the bill. You're able to see all of the line items, everything that you've been tracking along the way for your review. Make sure that you make any edits that you need to. You'll also note that there is a customized bill theme there, which I'll get into in a moment. So that's one way to bill. And then once the bill is generated, you can send that bill to your client either via email or via Clio for Clients. In this case, it's going to be email. So we're going to go to More Actions, Send, add the contact's information, and ready to go straight to their email. All right. Now, if you want to send lots of bills at once, that's also an option. You're going to go to the bulk billing page, be able to click all of the bills that you're wanting to generate, Generate them all at once, and then you can review each bill in more detail, make sure everything's looking good, how you want it, before you press send. So, some professional touches. Let's go back to the theme of how to make things shine and cover a couple of quick wins on that side for Clio Manage. Number one is bill themes. So you can customize the look of your bills. You can add your logo, your color scheme, and you can have consistency across all of your bills, or you can customize by matter type, practice area, or attorney, each client. You can be as creative as you want on this front and make as many of these templates as you want. In this example, it's by how they're being billed. So whatever feels right for your firm, but this is just, again, another step that's just going to make things look really clean and professional. And a quick tip, if you're spending a lot of time chasing down your clients to collect, you can set up automated bill reminders, which is great. Set it up once. You don't have to do the legwork of sending those manual reminders. And if you're worried it's going to not sound personal or feel contrived, you can personalize the message that goes out, and your clients will be thankful that they got the reminder and be hopefully paying you more often. All right, so top 3 takeaways for Clio Manage. We covered a lot. Number 1, Clio for clients. You're going to want to set it up. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to be a great way to communicate with your clients. And of course, text messaging is also one that you can explore there. Number 2, keep on top of all your work with tasks, and more ideally task lists, so that you have that automation. And number 3, do the work up front to save time later. The more that you can do up front, the more you can think through how you're setting things up, the better. So as far as doing the work up front, I would say picking a date right now. If you have your calendar, pick a date. When you get back to the office, take a day off when you get back, because if you've traveled here, it's nice to take a moment to let everything sink in. But pick a day and just spend the day geeking out on all these things that you can automate. Take the time, build your documents, build your task lists, build your intake forms, get it all ready, and that's time that you're going to get back tenfold, I promise you. If you hit any hiccups along the way, our support team is just a phone call or a chat button away.